Hello, everybody. My name is Ashley Rose. I'm an Access Consciousness Bars facilitator and Access Consciousness certified facilitator, and I live in the beautiful Sunshine Coast, Queensland, Australia. I come across bars 3.5 years ago in April of 2018, and I was severely anxious and severely depressed. And I'd spent about 10 years doing a lot of different personal development classes and courses, and nothing seemed to work. And I decided that I was really messed up and I was someone that things weren't going to change for. And in April 2018, I had a session with my kinesiologist here on the Sunshine Coast. And she said, "Have you heard of this thing called Access Bars?" And I was like, "No, what is that?" And she said, "It's this thing that clears the stuff in your head." And I went, "Well, nothing else has worked before." And part of me totally wanted to reject that option because I decided that nothing was going to work. And then I went, you know what? It's light. Let me just give this a go. So I went along and I learnt the Access Bars in the 1-day certification training class. So when I had my very first session with the participant in class, because in the class you gift and receive 2 sessions, after that session, I got off the table and my head was totally clear. And I could almost hear air and there was so much space. And I was like, holy moly, what is this? I require to know more. And so from then on, from April 2018, I started my journey with the Access Bars and Access Consciousness. And my demand was that everybody in the entire world knows about the Access Bars. And that's where I began with all of this. And for the last 2 years, I have been facilitating lots and lots of different access classes and courses. However, the bars have always been like the thing that gets me so excited to get out of bed, because that's where my journey started. So in August 2021, a friend and I got together and I went, I really want to introduce this to the world. Like, what else can we be and do? If people knew about this, then they actually have the option to choose it and actually know it exists. So what we did very quickly in the space of 2 weeks, and I had about a 2-week window between a lot of different classes I was facilitating, I said, what if we just hired a van, got in that van and just started driving around regional Queensland, which is the state that I live in Australia, and just kind of rocked up at towns and started just having conversations with people on the street and in the stores. And that's what we did. We hired a van, we decided what we required, and that was only in the space of about 2 days. And we packed it up and we left. And I remember like driving out of the driveway and my partner was like filming us leaving and we're all excited playing with these, cool music. And then I turned to Sarah and I went, what the hell are we doing? I've never done this before. And I went, we got this. How much fun can we have? And even if we change one person's life, like even if one person is introduced to the Access Bars during this trip, then we're a success. So just know that. So we took off on this 10-day journey and we traveled about 2,500 kilometers in this van, outback Queensland. A lot of the time driving, there was a lot of dirt, not much to see. And we'd just pull up in these towns and just start handing out flyers to people on the street. And we'd walk into a lot of the different stores and just let them know that, hey, there's this thing, it's Suicide Awareness Month, and we're offering free sessions in the park later this afternoon. So if you're available, if it feels like, come down and have a session. And that's what we did every day for 10 days. And it was really interesting. We did have these expectations that all these people were going to love it. Because I decided because it had changed everything for me, then everybody desires this in the world. So we started walking into a lot of stores and having conversations, and a lot of people actually said no. A lot of people were kind of like weirded out that we were offering something for free. And it was really interesting because it was this like space that we expanded into. And we just went, you know what? What if none of this was personal? what if just because someone said no to us then and there doesn't mean that there is something wrong with us? It's what we said, it's what we did. This isn't for everyone. So we kind of like had that attitude, like walking around towns and having a conversation. And what I actually kind of expanded into was really that space of, what if this was me? Like, what would I say if I was having a conversation to me? What would I say if I'd never been introduced to the bars before? And what is it that I actually required to hear? And so for me, the way I describe it to a lot of people is it's this amazing touch point technique that clears the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the limiting beliefs that are keeping you from creating a life you love, that are keeping you from creating a life you're excited to get out of bed for. And this is what it's been for me. It has cleared all the stuff in my head that has stopped me from actually creating a life that I'm excited to get out of bed for. Because before I was introduced to the Access bars, I didn't actually even desire to get out of bed. I spent the majority of my days crying, and I really actually struggled even maintaining friendships because I didn't actually know how to be around people because there was so much stuff in my head constantly. So what I would just say to people is, hey, it clears all the stuff in your head. Would you like to create a life you love? This is the start of it. What if you could actually clear all those limiting beliefs that are keeping you from creating something different in the world, creating something different as your life? And so that's where I began with all of this. And being Suicide Awareness Month, and the fact that we were offering sessions for free already created this space that was a lot easier to have conversation with people, because it kind of took all the judgment and all the points of view out of my world about sales and marketing. And it was just this space of, hey, it's free. You've got nothing to lose. And so I invite any of you, whether you have never tried the Access bars before, to give it a go. What do you have to lose? So when we were traveling around to all these different towns, and I think we went to 10 in the end, we had all these amazing experiences running bars, and we met all these incredible people from all different walks of life. And the majority of them had never heard of bars before, because the area that we were traveling is quite remote in Australia. I mean, you know, Australia is a very big country, and there's a lot of spaces where not many people actually live. So a lot of them had never heard of it before. And it was amazing running these sessions because people were actually getting off, you know, the table and going, wow, my mind is clear. I don't have any chatter in there anymore. And all of a sudden I don't feel depressed. And so there were all these amazing things occurring that very similar that occurred to me. And there was one lady that we actually ran a session on, and she was partially blind. And she had been that for the majority of her life. And we ran this session and she got off the table, and I didn't think that she enjoyed herself. She was like, oh yeah, thank you. And, you know, walked away. And the next day we're actually running in the one-day certification training at one of her friends' houses. And that morning, just before the training, we got a message from her saying, I want to come to class. And I'm like, cool. How does it get any better? And she got there and I was like, why are you here? And she's like, well, after that session, I could actually start to begin to see things that I couldn't see before the session. And I was like, what? That's amazing. And I've heard so many of these kind of miraculous stories like occurring from bar sessions that don't actually make logical sense. Like, you're touching these points on the head, but what we're actually doing is we're clearing all the points of view and beliefs you have that are stopping you from allowing your body to heal itself, from allowing you to create something different as your life. And that's the thing, like, that's the magic of the bars. For those of us that are practitioners, that actually run bar sessions, you are just this vessel that allows that person on the table to give up and release and dissipate whatever they're willing to. And so this is kind of like the magic and the miraculousness of the Access bars. Anything's actually possible, and everything is actually available to change if you choose it.
Gourmet. Dinner is served, babe.
Delicious.
Mm.
But we got to the last town and, with all these people saying no. And I went to Sarah, what if we had so many of us that we set up in the main street of the town with all these massage tables and we actually stopped traffic and people actually couldn't ignore us? Like, people would have to actually be in question of what the hell are they doing and what is that? So that is my next ask, to get so many of us kind of traveling around that we are unmissable and unstoppable, and to kind of create that force where people actually can't not know what the bars are. And that's the thing, like, my demand used to be that everybody knew about the bars and everybody chose it. And very early on, I went, okay, that's probably not going to work because not everyone actually desires, it's something different, or not everyone's looking for this. And so I went, well, my demand is actually for everybody to know this exists so they can choose it when and if they desire. So with that, it's like, where else can we go? What else can we be? What else can we do? And not from a space of expectation or projection or judgment of ourselves, just to be, just to actually have conversations with people from the place of, you don't have to choose it, but this is actually available. So what demand can you guys make of you that would allow access bars to grow exponentially? And for those of you, again, that haven't tried it, what if you gave it a go? What if you went on the website accessconsciousness.com and find a practitioner near you? And I wonder what could change for you. I wonder what else is possible. And I wonder what revenue stream you could create from this as well, because a lot of people don't realize that you can create a business from this. And me going to university and studying for 3 years is so interesting, because now my business was basically built upon a one-day bars class. So what else is possible that you guys have never considered before?